Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing Esports Team Tournament round number 2 here at the Shanghai International Circuit in China. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box is a great pleasure for me to introduce one of our star commentators from the PC side. He is our F2 stalwart. It is Allflattious.
Hello, good evening everyone. What an introduction from King-Kodiak himself. And I also say that it is a wonderful honour and a privilege to be commentating alongside the man that has been running PT commentary on AOR for such a long time, King-Kodiak himself. And I'm really excited to be given the opportunity to be commentating on this esports tournament here this evening.
It is going to be a spectacular event, no doubt. We are just waiting for our drivers to get into the lobby itself, so we apologise for the small delay that we have got on the books at the moment. So, whilst we are waiting for our drivers to get on board, let's just have a quick look at who has won where. So, of course, this is round number 2. Last week, we had the opening round in Bahrain, and we had the first race on the Xbox One side won by Veloci Surprise in very dominant fashion. For the PS4 side, it was VGIA Lucas, and for the PC side, it was Timp for the Williams Esports team with an amazing finish. Williams 1 and 3 and Renault 2 and 4, so that was quite an amazing display there. This week, the Xbox One and PS4 guys have, of course, had their race. The Xbox One was won by a stalwart racer. It is CRG Evo. And for the PS4 side, a name I'm less familiar with, but 2SV Yarmo Opmir was the winner on the PS4 side. So we await to see how our amazing PC drivers are going to do. We've got 17 of them in the lobby at the moment. So we know there's going to be a few people that are missing just through commitments and what have you. You know, real life does get in the way. Some of the teams only have a couple of drivers in their pool, and if one of them can't make it, that of course does make it more difficult for those particular teams to to pull their weight for the want of a phrase. But even still, this should be absolutely incredible. Some of the best for the PC side will be representing their respective teams across the board.
Certainly so, and that has been the case for one team tonight. The official Zen, who are driving in the pink Force India car, will only be fielding one driver this evening, as they only have 2 drivers on their roster, and one of them can't make it tonight. So it will only be Corny that is representing the. I think it is the official Zen esports team tonight. I think for everyone else, though, as far as I'm aware, we do have at least 2 drivers representing. I'm yet to be aware of who's representing Team Shizou in the Mercedes car and Team ORL in the Ferrari, but I'm sure as we wait for the drivers to enter the lobby, we shall be informed forthwith.
Well, let's have a look at who we currently have. It's now the count is now up to 18 drivers, so hopefully the last couple will get to us. For the Shizou crew, so they have fielded Chromatic, Hazard and Vito. It is the first and last of those names. Chromatic is in the Mercedes, and I believe Vito is in session somewhere. I saw his name briefly. Yes, there he is. So the Italian is with us. So that's Chromatic and Vito representing the Shizou team. Who is in the Red Bull lineup? Let's see. That is, it's going to be Yoni Tomler, Jembel Bassi, Patrick Holtzman, Frederick Rasmussen, or Graham Carroll. Who is Patrick Holtzman is one of them. Who's the other? It is Jembel Bassi. Now, Jem had a horrific race last time out. His front wing got utterly mullered in the opening round, in the opening corners actually, very early on in the race. So he's hoping for a little bit more of a positive outcome. Who's in the Williams today, Mr. Allflattious?
Indeed, we have Timp himself. Tino Nakarinen is driving in one of the Williamses, and we do have Alvaro Caraton. So I believe that is a change from what the team fielded in Bahrain, as I believe it was Timp and it was Graham Carroll, if I'm not Graham Carroll, Isaac, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. It was Isaac Price that was the rear gunner to Timp last time out, who fields the Renault team. So it's either Preschneider, Merrick, Daniel Shields, Max, or Mr. Anker, who rides our Renaults today.
In one of the Renaults, we have VP Marek, a name I'm very much familiar with, and in the other car, we have Preschneider. So they are your two drivers in the Renaults representing VP Gaming, the German esports team, and in the McLarens representing AOR Esports. Who do we have, Monsieur Kodiak?
So for the AOR Esports team, they fielded Matthias Chinak, Patrick 44, Hypert, and Le Mans. They have gone with this time. I see AOR Matthias, and it's Patrick 44 they've got this time out. Who fields our Saubers for Visceral?
For the Visceral team, I believe we have James Pinsker, otherwise known as Smeej, who I've noticed in the chat is doing his first race on the wheel tonight. So that could be very, very intriguing indeed. And as Kodiak's little intake of breath there was because the names disappeared off the list as we are now loading into the session. On my list of drivers, we should have VSRI nameless, and indeed we do. He's just loading up into the lobby at the moment. The PC F2 AOR champion is also representing Visceral this evening.
So Smeej became champion without a wheel?
No, Smeej did not. Nameless was the champion.
Oh, Nameless was the champion. I beg your pardon. I was just thinking, my God. Yeah, I mean, we know how competitive F2 is. A lot of the tiers are exceedingly competitive. When we refer to tiers, for those not familiar with AOR's F1 2018 league setup, we had over 1,000 drivers apply to be part of the current season, which is due to come to an end tomorrow. It's been a long, long season because we've done all 21 races on the calendar. So that is coming to an end tomorrow. So we had over 1,000 people across all of our tiers for all platforms, or 3 platforms. So it was an incredible amount of people. We had 12 tiers, I believe, on the PC side alone. So an amazing amount of people. And as mentioned before, Mr. Allflattious, along with one of our American stalwarts, Austin Knight, commentates on the F2 side. So he's my opposite number, essentially, for F2. But enough about that.
It's just incredible to see how much AOR has grown. I raced many moons ago now. I think it was season 11, and I think we're ending season 16 now. There were only 2 tiers of PC racing, and now to see that we've at least, done that 6 times over. And that's not including the assist side as well, that also runs their own leagues. And, with that, we have now geographical splits in terms of Oceania and America as well. It's just amazing to see how much things have grown over the years.
Absolutely, absolutely. So whilst our drivers then have begun the qualifying, is 18-minute qualifying session that our drivers are allowed to use. 18 drivers, as you can see in the session. Let's continue to go through the list and see who is fielding what. So we were talking about Sauber last time, so that was Nameless and James Pinsker, otherwise known as Smeej. For Ferrari then, who is championing the Scarlet Ferraris?
It appears we only have one Ferrari this evening, representing ORL, as I can't see any other, and it is Calcifer, who currently has just exited the pit lane to go out onto his first outlap of the qualifying session.
It is indeed only the single Scarlet Ferraris, as obviously simple math dictates. 20 cars grid, 18 of them here, so there are 2 teams without a double representation, and Ferrari is one of them, as ORL does not have that. Who represents Comrade Gaming in the Hasses?
In the Hasses, we do have, with Comrade Gaming, we have Non-Runner, who's just coming down the start-finish straight, I believe, to start a lap. And then also we have CRG, Jan Failer as well. So the only 2 drivers that are being fielded by Comrade Gaming. Therefore, they are the 2 drivers they stick with, carrying on from the Bahrain Grand Prix last time out.
Indeed, CRG only having, as Mr. Allflattious says, only their pool only has 2 drivers in it. As a reminder, the teams cannot change who is in their driver pools. They can't add to them. They could take them out if they really want to do, but they couldn't replace them with anybody, so it'd be fairly pointless to do. So, next down the road is the Rapid Racing team in the Toro Rossos. Who have we got?
We have Rapid Racing Yenab, or Jenab. I'm going to go for Yenab, I think, who was going side-by-side.
I went with Yenab last time as well.
Indeed, it was just going with side-by-side contact with a Red Bull there. That was rather amazing. Indeed so, and he is currently out on a lap. And then also, a name that I am rather familiar with, and quite a few in the chat might also be familiar with, is Pioni, who midway through the season joined from the F3 tier and went up into the F2 tier. So I'm very used to commentating on him, and he was very impressive when he made that jump up, was not fazed by the change in quality at all, so he'll be interesting and one to watch in the qualifying session this evening.
Now, I struggled with his name last week. I went with Iepini.
Oh, I think as my co-commentator from Split 2, Austin, knows him quite well. I think he went Iepini, I think, is the way to go. As, Chembola Bassi puts in a 129.2.
On the Ultras, so I'm curious of this. Most people out on mediums. We've got Jem, we have Non-Runner, and Patrick Holtzman all on the Ultras. One soft runner, which is Smees. Now, that's an interesting... I'd have thought everyone would be going for the mediums right now, but these guys know what they're doing far better than I. So, many times, anyone that has heard any of my commentaries over the years will know anytime I make a tyre prediction, vast majority of the time it is proven completely wrong. So I suspect that one is going to be another one. So our final team then is fielding the lovely Pink Force Indias. That is the official Zen. They are the other team to only have one, and as Mr. Allflattious has mentioned, that is Corny, who is not out on track at the moment. I thought I saw i7 Seuss actually join the session, but he's not joined as a driver, so he may well be having a problem. But we were aware that some teams were only fielding a single driver. So, Jemba Bassi for the Red Bulls set that 29.2, actually stonking time, but I think it's fair to say at this early stage we are going to be seeing a fair amount of times coming down. Look at this, what a lovely back shot we've got going on of Jemba Bassi giving Patrick Holtzman a huge dose of slipstream and then jumping royally out of the way as Patrick flies through. He is the another ultra soft runner, only 2 on the track at the moment, which are the Red Bull pair. What time does Holtzman get on the board? Let's follow him through to the end of his lap, and it's going to be a 129.228. So both of the Red Bull pairs in the 29.2s, and that is 14 thousandths of a second separating the Red Bull pair. So they're very much sticking to starting on the ultra softs, I dare say. That's going to be very hard to try and beat on medium tyres.
Indeed. So, Zen Corny, of course, he's just put on the soft tyres and is coming out of the pits now. So, of course, it's going to affect some drivers not having teammates, so they won't be able to give each other DRS and slipstream down the back straight. A couple more drivers going onto the soft tyres. Just noted Yenab in the Rapid Races has also opted for the soft tyres. So maybe some drivers starting out on the mediums and then changing their minds and opting for a soft tyre run.
Could well be. So there's still over 11 minutes to go through, so plenty of time for these drivers just to get a feeler for what's going on. I've been informed it's going to be dry throughout, so no sign of any rain at all during this race. Alvera Caraton up into third with 131.1, also on the Ultra. Oh no, he's just switched to the Ultras, I beg your pardon. So he's toying with the idea of going out and setting a time on the very sticky ultra soft rubber. Shall we follow someone through a lap?
We shall. I'm just thinking in terms of the ultra soft strategy, as you say, if Chem suffered early first lap damage, his idea might be to get that jump off the line and go on those ultra softs and just try and blast away from the front, so at least he starts the race with minimal chances of gaining damage by qualifying further down the field. He's trying to negate that and start near the front, so there won't be any chance of getting damage from early lap collisions.
A fair shout, a decent strategy there.
Oh my word, I've just seen a Haas, and that is Rapid Racing Yenab is currently in the wall, which is not what you'd expect in a qualifying session. I apologise for interrupting. The I think the only word is mounted, a Haas.
Oh dear.
And indeed, and that is Yenab without a front wing.
Yenab,
Also getting the...
I think that might be a bit of lag on your side, because Yenab in the Toro Rosso. Are you talking about Yenab or Fela?
No, I was definitely talking about Yenab. No, I think it might be some interesting things going on my screen. As he does also look fine. So very strange things going on my screen. But that's why your screen is what's being shown on the stream.
Let's follow then the Rapid Racing Yenab then over a hot lap as it's crossed over the line, heading down towards turn 1. The never-ending double apex 1 and 2. As he's got that is Alvaro Carrington that's just come out. He stays royally out of the way. So this will be one of the few laps we've had set on a set of soft tyres at the moment. As he's come through to finish 3 and 4. Now flicks through 5. Heavy on the brakes then for turn 6. Tiny bit of a lock-up and nothing he's going to worry about at this stage. Wander over to the right-hand side then to open up the entrance for turn 7. A long sweeping left-hander that then flicks very rapidly into turn 8. And then again slowing the car down, but if you hit the anchors too hard during the corner, everything will just spit you out. Through 9 and 10, then onto the short straight towards the very tight turn 11. Keep the car nice and balanced. Going to catch the apex and then sweep through 12. The double apex right-hander as this one opens up, leads into the apex of 13, which is pretty much there. It's a fairly non-existent corner. Then one of the longest straights in the entire F1 calendar. Streaming on down, foot nailed to the floor, DRS wide open, ERS to maximum, and it's scraping along the floor for good measure. Around about the 100 metre board, heavy on the brakes again, a tiny bit of lockup, but nothing too bad. Sweeps through 14, then the non-existent 15 over to the right-hand side to sweep through 16, using as much apex as he dare. And where does that put Yenab? It puts him an invalid lap, or unless he remained in 15th. But looking at from 3rd down to, well, pretty much down to the tail end of the field, is separated by 1.4 seconds from 3rd down to last. So that's a pretty damn tight field, it must be said. The Ultrasoft pair, the Red Bull pair at the top, the only two odd ones out in that respect. But I do question whether that's going to force them into a two-stop strategy.
It might well do. As I say, it's incredibly close, with a variety of tyres having been driven on as well. We've got the two Red Bulls there on those Ultrasofts, but then we have Patrick there on the mediums with a 131.1, or perhaps he's switched to the mediums. That may well be what has happened. I may be confusing myself with the tyre selections there, but as Kodiak has mentioned, we do have an incredibly close grid, which is only going to make for an incredibly exciting race.
Absolutely, and Jembo Labassi has actually increased on his already impressive pole time, now 29.074, so he's giving himself a couple of tenths over his teammate, who is out there on a timed lap at the moment. Where is he? He finds himself sweeping through turn 7, so halfway through sector 2. We'll keep an eye on if he is able to usurp his teammate. Less than 7 minutes to go, so oh dear, that's not helpful for non-runner. He's had a problem. Where he can rejoin if he's got spare invites or what have you. He is going to be able to rejoin the session, and if he does it quick enough, he can get out there and get another lap done, but he will start no higher than 14th if he cannot resolve that particular issue in time for another qualifying lap. Oh, that's getting a bit busy. There was Tino that was just kind of caught out there. Here's Jem again giving Patrick Holzman another big old handful of slipstream. Absolutely fine, nothing wrong with that at all. Jumps out of the way, and no locker from Patrick. Then gets a little deep through 14, but it doesn't particularly matter. You've got time to recover that. Heading down towards 16. Does the second Red Bull, improving his time? Does he take the pole? Let us see. It is.
It was
invalid.
It was invalid. I think it was a 29.055.
So would have been pole.
Think it would indeed.
I actually read it as 7.5, so I thought he was 1,000 behind. No, you might be right on that. I may not have actually read that correctly. If he was 7.5, he'd have been 1,000 behind Jembo Labassi. I know there's consistency, and there's that level of consistency within the team. That would be absolutely amazing.
would have been fairly impressive stuff from those Red Bulls, really using team cohesion to its best. Not a lot of drivers currently out at the moment. We have Calcifer in the Ferrari, who I think might be about to come across the line and set a time. Let's have a look on the soft tyres. He's moved himself up into 8th place, a 1:31.189. So an impressive run from the lone Ferrari.
Again, I'm just looking at the gaps in between each car, and it's just mind-bogglingly close. So Tino's actually kind of broken ranks and gotten a decent chunk ahead of Corny, who's jumped up to 4th in the Force India with a 31.096. And then it's another 47 thousandths to Patrick in the McLaren. Then about 15 thousandths to Carrington. 18 thousand I think to Vito. Then 13 thousandths to Calcifer. That's absolutely incredible. I mean, we're used to seeing that a fair bit in the top tier of PC side for AOR kind of normal F1 leagues, but that is absolutely amazing to see. It's so close in a tournament such as this.
I mean, exactly. 4th down to 17th is 7/10 of a second. So it's just incredible.
4 minutes to go. I imagine this is when we're going to get a flood of people coming out to get a time on the board. A few people out there now. There's AOR Esports in the McLaren. A bit of wheel spin coming on. Where's he? He's coming through that long turn 7, so halfway through his lap then, and pushing hard on the soft tyres to improve on 31.745. If he found half a second, he'd be up to about 9th from 16th. So that is again highlighting how close the field is. Yep, here we go. A lot of people coming out for outlaps now. There's Preschneider in the Renault. The Renault pair, 12th and 13th. Bear in mind they finished 2nd and 4th last week. That's a very big turnaround. Now our Williams pair, 3rd and 6th, with the Red Bull pair absolutely storming away at the moment. So a lot is likely to change in the remaining 3 minutes.
It's just interesting to see. I'm just watching Matthias going down that back straight, and it is interesting how much you actually lose out from not having a teammate, as Patrick's not there to help him give that boost. He's down about 8 or 9 miles an hour in terms of getting top speed down that back straight. But let's see what time he puts in as he comes across the line. He jumps in again, joins the crowd of people on a 1:31.1, and comes into 5th place there. Joins the club just ahead of his teammate, interestingly. Yeah,
there's quick maths tells me there's about 24,000 separating the McLarens at the moment. To put that in context, it's the speed they cross the line at. That's like barely the width of the front wing. It's that close between quite a few of our cars. But as I thought, we're seeing a lot of people coming out to get some decent times. Another couple of people, the Rapid Racing pairs currently occupying the back row. Yanab and, how did you say his name again?
Iepioni.
Iepioni, yeah. I've got to get my head out of saying Iepioni.
You were talking about the Renault's VP Marix just slot himself up into 4th.
So he did. With
getting into the 1:30s. He's actually got a bit of space around him in terms of lap time, which is something quite rare to say.
Yes, yeah, not many people do. But everybody except for James Pinsker is out on track at the moment. James is not going to have time to come out unless he has he left his pit box? Oh, he has. It's only just my screen's updated. Oh no, he's wandered off the road. I think he's trying to get out of one of the Mercedes way. That's Chromatic that's just gone past him. Hopefully that doesn't deny James another opportunity to get a lap in, because he's really cutting that fine to the checkered flag. So we'll keep an eye on that. But every car now out on track to try and improve on the... Oh, Jem again!
Yeah, just watched him cross the line there, 1:28.8. So very much happy to take pole there, unless someone comes up with an absolute stonker of a lap. And the two Williamses are just behind each other. The Caraton ahead of Tino at the moment on track as they're about to start their laps. Oh, actually, in fact, Caraton's just gone 3rd.
He has. He's on the soft tyres as well. He was only half a second behind Holtzman, so that's an absolute stormer for Caraton. So, but Tino, I think he's going to start on... Oh, no, he's actually going to start on soft tyres. He's got ultras on at the moment, but he didn't set that lap on them. He set the lap on the soft tyres. So Who's going to be starting? It's only the Red Bulls that are going to be starting on the softs, unless Corny sets a lap that keeps him in the top 10. Let's see, where does he jump up to? He jumps up to 9th, or he solidifies that 9th position. I think that was the end of his out lap, actually, because he's now really pressing on with a full battery load of ERS. So he's looking to start well within the top 10. I say Tino is in. James did not beat the flag. James Pinsker didn't beat the flag. Nameless has crossed the line. Actually, the two Sauber pair right with one another. So they will be starting 13th and 16th, or no higher than, respectively. Tino was in the pits when he said his out. Mateus is in the pits. He'll start no higher than 6th. The McLaren pair, their day is done. Patrick will start outside of the top 10, so he'll have a free choice of tyres. Who shall we pick up? Carrington is... I've
got VP Marek. The two Renaults are slipstreaming each other down this long straight right now. VP Marek and Preschnader. I think it's going to be Marek that's going to try and go for the fast lap, getting up to 217 miles an hour. His teammate gets him out of the way. Slight lock up as non-runner comes into 8th place and now splits the two Renaults. So let's see what VP Marek can do as he's about to come across the line through the final corner, getting on that DRS. Jumps up into 6th ahead of Matthias of the ERL team.
Who is still out there? Chromatic in the Mercedes is still going. He's, or the Mercedes pair are doing the same. So Crow is out there, but he's giving slipstream to Vito. Vito then jumps out of the slipstream of Chromatic. Chromatic is in 4th with a 29.892, just half a tenth behind Carrington. What will Vito do? Currently 13th with a 31.0. Is he going to improve? Straight lines it towards the checkered flag. It is 7th with a 39.244, 5 thousandths of a second behind Jan Fehler, who's jumped up into 6th with a 32.39. Gosh, Struth alive, that is incredibly close.
It is indeed. Some debate in the chat on the Red Bull strategy, questioning whether it's advisable to start on the ultra soft tyres. We will have to see how that progresses as the race carries on. But your full grid in front of you is the two Red Bulls, Chembolik Bassi and Patrick Holtzman. Both will be forced to start on the ultra soft tyres. Then it is Alvaro Caraton in 3rd, Chromatic in 4th, Tino Nakarinen Timp in 5th, Jan Fehler 6th, Vito 7th, another ultra soft starter, the lone Ferrari for ORL of Calcifer, Marek in 9th, Matthias in 10th. So those drivers, of course, will be starting on the tyres you see on your screen right now. Non-runner 11th, Corny 12th, Preschnader 13th, Yanab 14th, Patrick in 15th, Ipioni in 16th, James Pinsker, otherwise known as Smeege, in 17th, and Nameless in 19th. Not going well for the Visceral drivers there.
No, indeed, but let's see what strategies they pull out. I'm questioning that ultra soft strategy as well. They're the only pair, they're the only people to qualify on those tyres towards the front. We have got trying to remember who it was. It's
Calcifer in 8th place.
Yeah, so he's gonna have a hard day unless he has an absolute stonker of a start. He's gonna be in real trouble because he's gonna have to pass people to make his strategy work. Unless he wasn't intending to start on those tyres. We do sometimes have people doing their cycle laps on the soft-est rubber. It can often backfire doing that, and that may well be Calcifer's problem, but we will see as the race unfurls. But either way, we have got everybody now loading in, getting their setups loaded up, making sure they switch to the correct one. So we will then get the formation lap underway, and we will have this 50% race here in China. This is going to be, with how close the field has been in qualifying, if that translates into the race, we're going to have a sort of 16-car train going on.
We should have a lot of DRS moves being made on that back straight, as we do have now the formation lap getting underway, and unsurprisingly, the drivers that have had full tyre choice, that is non-runner down to Nameless, all bar Rapid Racing Yenab, have opted for the medium tyres.
Yeah, that was what I rather expected. Yanab trying something different. And, well, why not? You're outside of the top 10. Try something different. You've got essentially nothing to lose. Of course, it is the standard Oh, that's not... Oh, that's quite a big block of people.
There There's been a crash on the formation lap, I think.
I think that's fair to say. Yes, I was looking at Jem Bullabassi just as half the field detonates. So they're not disqualified from the race. Of course, they are just not going to be in the formation lap. That is 10th down to 14th and then 16th. So Mateus, non-runner, Corny, Preschneider, Janab, and I'm going to stick with the Iapani because that's what my brain just keeps telling me to say for that particular driver. I wholeheartedly apologise if that is incorrect, but all that means is they will have very cold tyres. So when the race begins, so they are going to have a little bit more problems. Oh no, Allflattious has had a problem. Is your internet exploded again, Mr. Allflattious? By his lack of response, it would seem to be so. That is a great shame that has happened. It's likely to mean that he will not be able to rejoin me. Oh, what a great shame. I was looking forward to commentating with the great Allflattious. However, the show must go on, and I will venture forth to do this, to provide the cover that I can as we see the field. Look at the vigorous... Now, interesting that only the ultra soft pair, only the Red Bulls are not weaving like that. So they want to keep as much life in those tyres. Bearing in mind, they've done qualifying on them. Hopefully, if Allflattious has been able to rejoin, then hopefully he can rejoin me in the commentary box. Are you back with me?
I am back with you, and I think normally this doesn't work, but I'm here. I am back. I'm in the session. This has actually never happened before. I'm actually quite impressed that that's worked.
Excellent. I'm very glad, very, very, very glad to have you back by my side. And I was amazed at how many cars were still on the starting grid. Never mind, here we are then. They are forming up. And we will get this race underway. Everybody in position. Here we are then. We all know the procedure. There are the lights. On they come. It is Shanghai. It is time to wind them up and let them go. Can the Red Bull pair hold off the entire field behind? That's a stormer from Failer on the left-hand side of the show. He's trying to get a move on Chromatic. The Red Bull pair is swapping around as well. Holtzman's got the inside line on Jem Bullabassi. And Carrington's trying to force his way through as well. That is disastrous for the Red Bull pair. If Carrington can slot himself in between the two, no. Bullabassi manages to fend off the charging Williams. And Failer's, after that amazing start, is just slotting back down into 6th. Lots of jostling going on. Nearly 3 wide coming into turn 6. What is 3 wide coming into turn 6 indeed, as Fader keeping the pressure on Tino as they're now streaming down through the second sector into that long left-hander. Now most of the field should be settling down. Calcifer, who really needed that decent start, has actually lost the position. He's down to 9th. Looks like though everybody has managed to survive the first few corners. And whoa, it's one of the that was Jem that was going very wide on the exit of turn 10. So, looks like everybody has made it. I'm not seeing any dead wings so far.
Neither am I. Can I just have a shout out to James Pinsker Smeege, who started in P17 and has made 6 positions off the line. It's been a fantastic start from him. The Red Bulls are swapped around as well. Patrick Holtzman currently leading Jem Bullabassi, and as we go down to this back straight, it doesn't look like there's going to be any moves made at the moment. The cars are actually quite spread out for the first lap. All things considered.
Comparatively speaking, yes, absolutely. A few changes in position, as you can see on this particular graphic. As you always imagine, whoa, Jem Bullabassi, massive snap of oversteer there as he's come through the final turn, chasing his teammate. Now the Red Bulls are beginning to stretch their legs, as you would imagine, on those ultra soft tires, but they have to. They've got to make their strategy work. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see them coming twice. I can't see that those ultra softs are going to last too much longer, but we will see. They may be.
I would not be surprised if we see the Ultrasofts coming in as early as lap 5, maybe lap 6, if they can really stretch it. But it is going to be very early on. They're either going to go for a 2-stop strategy, or they're going to try and go on the mediums and just go it to the end of the race. Yes, Robin, these cars are all equal in terms of performance in all these AOR races.
Indeed, there is no inherent team advantage. The Mercedes, just by name, would not dominate anybody else just because they are the Mercedes. It's down to driver skill and driver setup. That is what dictates the difference in these races. Look at this lot as they come streaming on down that straight, heading towards turn 11. No major gaps as yet. Everybody's still in very short order. That's the view from Iapani. When he gets on the back straight, he should, in theory, be able to see the entire field as he's come through turn 13, he won't quite because it's going to be a little bit too far ahead. But if we jump to Patrick Holzman, he was still on that straight. So the entire field all on the same straight. Not often you can say that in a Formula 1 race, even at this early stage. But, yep, I would agree with you there, Allflattious. We should be seeing the ultra soft runners come in round about 5 or 6. Holtzman again lighting up the fastest lap board. Jembo Labassi just holding station. I doubt he's going to attack too much. But as I mentioned last week, this is a team-focused tournament, but the drivers are still out there for a bit of glory for themselves. But I would imagine Jem is going to be very conscious of the fact that he had an absolute terrible race last week. He will want to make amends for that. But so far so good. Carrington has not got DRS off the back of the Red Bulls when it becomes available to the drivers, of course. But I believe there's only a few drivers that are out of that crucial DRS range. Vito's fallen a little bit off the back of Jan Fehler. Again, a bit of oversteer for the Mercedes as they came through turn 6, now leading through 7. The other one that doesn't have it is actually Zen Corney is fallen slightly too far off the back of James Pinsker, but so far no one having to change any front wings.
Not at the moment, which is fantastic to see. So as the leaders are about to come on to that back straight for the first time, a little bit of a lock-up from Chembol Bassi going into that corner, but it's going to be interesting to see whether we're going to have any moves made on this back straight. Calcifer really needs to get moving in that Ferrari. He's on those ultra softs. He's lost a position at the start and is over a second behind VP Marek, who may well be having a look at Vito down this straight. He looks to be shaping up a move. Let's have a look. He's going to go to the inside. Up the inside he does go. Sends it, does the Renault. And that is him up to 7th place. But they are still side by side coming out of that hairpin. But Marek is going to have the inside line. And there we go. Looks like his teammate also made a move on non-runner for 13th as well. So the Renault's making moves early on.
Calcifer's day getting even worse because here Mateus actually went past him. You know, the usual DRS overtake going on in the back straight. And look at that. That's Vito on the inside of Marek. Tiny bit of wheel banging going on there. It's too slow to make a huge problem there. But that could have got very nasty very quickly even still. But Marek just able to fend off the Mercedes as they come through to the end of the first sector, streaming on down towards turn 6. Still a lot of the field in their sight. I think the Ultrasoft runners are now beginning to struggle. They had actually broken away to over a second from Carrington, but that gap is now decreasing. So it could be that Holtzman and Jembo Labassi are now beginning to struggle on those Ultrasoft tyres. As Carrington is gaining on them pretty quickly. That's the view from the Williams as they come out of turn 10, streaming on that down towards the tight, twisty 11 and 12. So Carrington could well be in a position to attack. Holtzman 7/10 ahead of Jembo Labassi. Jem is going to have to play the rear gunner role against that charging Williams. Here they come then, and look at how much Jem is having to fight. That guy did not want to stick at all. Coming through 13. Here comes the Williams. 3/10 separates the two. Is he going to split the Red Bull? No, Jem just, but only just, having enough momentum and speed to fend off the Williams coming into turn 14. But if they don't come in now, it seems inevitable that the Williams is going to split the Mercedes pair, as we're seeing lots of fighting going on. That's Holtzman did indeed come in, so that was earlier than we anticipated. But looking at how much they're struggling, I'm really not surprised.
So just another word on Smeej. He's now up to, or James Pinsker as it is on your screen. He made a move on Calcifer. As we said, his day is going from bad to worse. That is Smeej up 8 places from where he started in this Grand Prix. As we said, it's his first race on new equipment onto the wheel. So his day is going brilliantly so far. And that is Caraton, I think, making a move for first.
Yes, it is indeed. Chromatic looks like he's going to try and follow as well. He has. The Red Bull losing 2 positions in just 2 corners there. Those Ultrasoft tyres have absolutely had it, but he had no choice. His teammate...
Oh!
Go on.
He's completely slid out there and he's lost a position now to Timp as well.
Yeah, he had no choice. He couldn't come in at the same time. He'd have stacked behind his teammates. So, speaking of, where did the other... Oh, Patrick Holtzman coming out in last, only because the field is that closely condensed. He's 10 seconds off the back of Iapany down there in 18th. But look how much he's struggling if we go on board with Jan Fehler. Jan is having to take evasive measures coming through 13. Otherwise, he's going to slam into the back of the Red Bull. The DRS isn't even open, and he's pulling alongside. That's how badly it's going for Jembo Labassi. Jem could well fall behind to see, fall behind quite a long way before he gets to the pit lane. So now they come through as Calcifer loses another position to Pracinator, no doubt in exactly the same fashion as we just seen. Surely Gem's got to come in this time. Yes, he does. In comes the Red Bull after only 4 laps on those tyres. Of course, Patrick doing 3 laps. Surely Calcifer's going to do the same. No, Calcifer continues. I think that's a terrible decision, as Nameless is the first one to open up the penalty scoring. Nameless is in. Is Nameless now? I thought I was seeing Nameless coming in, and there's another position Calcifer's lost as Corny comes through. He's on the medium tyres. In the Force India, the McLaren looking to try and do the same thing. That's Patrick trying to string around the outside, coming through 3 and 4. And no, the Ferrari just manages to fend him off. For Calcifer, his day is going to get very, very hard.
So, Chembol Bassi just exiting the pits then in that Red Bull. He's 3.5 seconds back to his teammate, who he was right on before. That just shows how much time he's lost. Calcifer dropping back through the field now, down to 14th. So this ultra-soft strategy, as was questioned beforehand, doesn't appear on the surface to be working that well.
I think he's... Oh, wow. Well, that's Nameless and Yenab side by side. There's a Yenab with his softer tyres. Oh, nearly chopping the nose off the Sauber as they came through turn 10. I think Calcifer's trying to avoid another pit stop. He's stringing out that ultra-soft stint, but he's losing so much time. That's just... I don't think that's going to pay off, but we'll see. He knows what he's capable of. He knows what he's practiced, and we'll see what he's able to do. Jumping back onto our top 3, it's the Williams pair of Eric Harrington leads Crow, leads Tino. So again, Williams having a very strong showing here. Oh, Mateus, he's gone for a move on Vito, but he's gone too deep into 14, side by side coming up through 15 and into 16. The Mercedes is just nose ahead, and he's got back into position. Nicely done by Vito to reclaim 6th position.
But that Mercedes is already in the slipstream, and it's going to go up the inside for turn 1. There they go, going side by side through this long turn 1 that will then give the Mercedes the inside line as we sweep round to the second part. But Matthias has gotten that move done, getting past the Mercedes, so back up into 6th place. Very nicely done indeed from the ERL driver there.
That was brilliantly driven. He kept his head. He didn't panic. He knew what move he was going to do. That's one of the differences between the good and the great. An overtake may happen, but these guys think several corners further down the road. I think, fine, I'm going to nail you on the exit of 3 and 4, and before I get to 6, and that's exactly what he did. Brilliantly driven by Eero Mateus. He's already given himself half a second gap between himself and Vito, so that well could play very nicely for him. Marek then up into 5th position in the Renault. Jan Fehler is 1.5 further down the road. Jan is so tantalizingly close to getting DRS off of Tino. He's actually within that second. Does he get it? Does he get DRS on this back straight? He does! At the very crucial moment, the Haas driver for Comrade Gaming does indeed get into that DRS race. Now, that's not going to help him this time around, but it just helps him keep in contention, or get into contention rather, with the top 3. So that train is looking to get a bit longer as Pracinator has just gone past James Pinchka on that long back straight. Again, they're the medium. That's the lead of the medium runners at the moment. So Pracinator then leading that particular battle. Is going to be interesting to see how the medium and soft strategies compare to one another. And just to show how bad it went for Calcifer, he's 12 seconds behind Jembul Abassi. So granted, he was some way down the road before the pit stops. He wasn't that far down the road though.
No, he certainly wasn't, and still, even the gap between the 2 Red Bulls, over 4 seconds now. Wow. Between Patrick Holtzman and Chembol Bassi. So it just shows how much time you can lose by going just 1 lap too long on a set of tyres.
Absolutely. Now, the Williams would have probably wanted to be running 1-2 at the moment, but they've got a pesky Mercedes in the way. The Shazoo of the Shazoo team made of Chromatic. Bearing in mind that Shazoo was our fastest team in the qualifiers, ahead of Red Bull, ahead of Williams Esports, to name the 1, 2 and 3. So there's a lot of pace in that particular lineup, and Chromatic is doing what he can to disrupt the Williams, but he has fallen just outside of a second from Carrington. This could be absolutely crucial, but Tino's on the brink of doing the same. That means Crow is not going to have DRS at this very crucial time, but neither is Tino. That's going to put him in striking range of Jan Fehler. So the lead Comrade Gaming Haas. Here he comes. Oh, Tino did get DRS, only just, I would imagine, off the back of Chromatic. But look at this. We saw Jan getting that DRS and only just remaining in contention. Now he's within striking distance of Tino. This battle has gotten very lively.
It has indeed. Is there going to be a Haas that increases the filling of the Williams sandwich as we go down the straight to start lap 9? He's not close enough as we move into turn 1. The gap is half a second. Not enough to get that move done down the straight. And looking at back to the battle for 6th at the moment, the other Shazoo Mercedes is very close to the back of ERL Matthias in the McLaren.
ERL having a very strong showing in the form of Matthias at the moment. He's driving brilliantly well. The VP pair aren't having too bad a showing, 5th and 8th at the moment. Because there's Matthias a bit of a locker, then coming into 6th. Is Vito going to be able to do anything with it? No, a bit of wheel spin coming out of that slow right-hander, so that rather stunted his progress, but he stayed very much in striking range of the McLaren. Carrington 1.5 seconds ahead of Chromatic. That is going to be absolutely crucial for the Williams team. There you can see him at the bottom of the shot, coming through turn 11. Bit of a lockup then from Chromatic. You saw Marek in that shot as well. There is the Renault. So the more that these guys fight, of course, that's going to bring Marek into it. But Jan Feiler's had a terrible few corners. He's fallen off the back of Tino. He was right there. He's lost a second in this lap alone. That is not what Jan Feiler needed. He's jumping on board with Tino. He's keeping up with Crow, but not really staying in striking range. So this... Oh, just as I say that, commentator Kurt's Crow's gone way too deep into turn 14. That's brought the Williams right in contention. That's going to make turn 1 very interesting. Oh, no, it isn't. I was going to say it makes turn 1 very interesting. No, it doesn't, because Tino has brought his car in right about lap 9. Well, the end of lap 8, so the beginning of lap 9. So that's Tino in, Jan in, and Marek. Oh, crikey, lots of soft runners coming in. Matthias and Vito all coming in. So Carrington and Chromatic having to do another lap. Their respective teammates have come in. So they're going to be only 2 runners on the soft tyres. Bracenader continues to lead the train of the medium starters, and James Pinsker right with him now up to 4th.
Indeed. So, as I say, it's going to be interesting to see how long the medium runners can take their tyres. And we see the soft runners are going about 9 or 10 laps, but of course, it'll be interesting to see how far the medium tyre runners go. 16, 17, maybe as long as that before they jump onto some softs and go to the end. It's going to be interesting to see, of course, where the Red Bulls end up, as they are now quite split. Patrick Holtzman running in 11th and Chem down in 15th place. So he has just made a move on Marek. Indeed, he has. So he's up into 14th. Well, there is quite a bit of gap between those 2 Red Bulls, who I believe are going to take those medium tyres all the way to the end.
If they're going to do that, they're going to struggle when they get there. I would think they're going to run the risk of punctures going over 20 laps. Well, they're going to be doing the best part 24 laps on those tyres. That's a tall order. 19 is a fairly comfortable ask on these mediums, looking at the feedback. Oh, we've lost the Ferrari. The ORL driver of Calcifer is he's out of the session. The car will still go as a ghost, but he'll lose so much time. Oh, that's Vito and Matthias. They continue with their battle post pit stop. Vito on the outside of turn 13. Oh, that was a brave man to move around there as Calcifer does rejoin the session. Here's the McLaren. He's, of course, not got DRS because Vito had it in the detection point. As the last few soft runners come into the pits. Whoa, Vito, what a move for the Suzuki driver in the Mercedes on the outside of 13. That was brilliantly done. Didn't seem to be any impact there. So that's Carrington, Chromatic, and Yanab also coming out of the pits. Vito, that's a bit of a shame getting his name on the penalty board. That's going to rather stunt his fight that he's having with Matthias at the moment. Oh, wow, that got very close. I just couldn't believe how close it was. I really was not expecting a move at that particular point.
I think Patrick Holtzman might have made a move as well for P8 as he's gotten past the Sauber of Nameless. There's an interesting battle of a third that may well be coming as the Timps made a move on Crow there for 10th place. This battle for third going down. We've got Corny, Patrick, Non-Runner and Ipioni, all who have yet to pit, of course, and then Caraton about 7 seconds back. This is going to be interesting as I have a lovely helicopter shot of all 4 of them driving from Zen's point of view as they're all going to come onto this back straight now. It's going to be interesting to see whether any moves can be made with DRS. That Force India may well be in trouble.
Could well be, as that's going to be Patrick lining up and moving the back of the Force India. He's going to be a little bit too far back. Tino is getting very close, and Nameless actually side by side coming down that back straight. Tino wants to get ahead of Nameless, bearing in mind that that's 10 laps. Well, Nameless hasn't been in yet. Nameless is one of the people that started on the mediums, and Tino's got him. as Marek has gone past Jembo Labasi in the same fashion. So the Red Bull demoted back down into 14th. Crow, actually Chromatic managed to nail Nameless as well. They're still side by side coming into the final turn. And no, beg your pardon, Jan Failer was the one that was the third car along the road. He's actually weaving to get heat into his tyres. You don't often see that. So Nameless lost 3 positions in 3 corners there. That's just the nature of the beast. Bear in mind his tyres are much older. But you can see the gap between himself and the rest of the medium starters. He's in 12th at the moment, and it's 1st to 6th that are the medium starters, separated by, what are they separated by? 5.5 seconds between 1st and 6th, so pretty close there. But every single car on the same mark tyre, everyone on the mediums at the moment. That's the battle that Allflattious is referring to. 3rd down to 6th. Corny, Patrick, Non-Runner, and Iepany. I'm going to struggle with that name all season long, I suspect. As that's another position that Nameless has lost. That's Marek that's gone past him. So the Nameless is really struggling. Those tyres should be good for another few laps, but Nameless seems to be really falling through the field at the moment. So he's got some damage. Whoa, that was Jembo Labasi getting very close. I think Nameless is really struggling. I can't see any damage on the front of the car. It's often very difficult to see it from a spectator's perspective. The end plates look like they're there. But he's really struggling in these last few laps.
Indeed so, and he's now got Jembo Labasi right behind him, who's going to use DRS, and this is going to be a fairly easy move for the Red Bull. That demotes Nameless back down to 14th position. So not going well for Nameless there, and this battle between 3rd down to 6th continues on. No drivers changing positions at the moment. Alvaro Caraton coming in with the fastest lap of the race in the Williams car.
Nameless is in, so he has had a problem of some description. I wouldn't be surprised if there's damage on that car, because those mediums should be good for more than 12 laps. So unless he just had enough of them, bearing in mind they would have... well, no, Nameless was, I think, outside of the top 10, so he wouldn't have done any qualifying on those tyres. So that
is a front wing change for Nameless, actually, in that pit stop. So, indeed, most likely running with an end plate loss of some sort.
Yeah, we couldn't see it on my screen, but there we go. That would definitely explain why he was falling through the field so badly. So Nameless then is going to be quite a way off the back of Calcifer. Bear in mind, Calcifer did rejoin the session, so that's not a ghosted Ferrari. We've got Preschneider is our leader at the moment then. Is 2.5 seconds ahead of James Pinsker. But he's enjoying the new wheel that he's experiencing for himself, and out there in second. But look at Corny, he's got Patrick all over his tail. There goes the McLaren. Surely Non-Runner is going to follow suit. Well, Non-Runner's a good half a second behind. There goes the McLaren. Surely the Force India is going to slot in behind Patrick, defending the inside line. Is that going to allow the Force India to go the outside? Whoa, and that's Patrick shoving the Force India off the road, firm but fair. Non-Runner went through as well, so Corny went from attacking for 3rd to being demoted to 5th in the matter of 3 turns.
I thought Corny had actually played that pretty well. He broke really, really late, and but he just didn't. He just ran a little bit wide, and that allowed just the slightest of spaces for Non-Runners to go back up the inside as Corny has a little look through turn 1, but is not able to make his way through. These guys battling on not very old, but quite old medium tyres now, so there will be a little bit of play in the in how they are able to keep the car. That'll be a little bit unbalanced, and according to my graphic that may well be wrong, it's stating that Non-Runner might be coming into the pit this lap, though that graphic may well be incorrect, so don't quote me on that.
Interesting. Another big battle for me. Actually, Alvaro Caraton is comparatively a no man's land. 3.2 ahead and 3.3 behind. He's one of the few people that has a gap like that to enjoy, and that's the fastest lap round. So bearing in mind that Caraton got that fastest lap without the aid of slipstream. Patrick Holtzman, though, has got a lot of pressure from Tino, Chromatic, and Jan Failer. Those 3 particularly have been locked in battle for quite a number of laps. Then Patrick is got 5 laps more on his tyres, so I think he's going to struggle. I think Jan is experiencing a bit of lag problem there because he's... Whoa, Chromatic, that's very wide on the exit of turn 13. Now, on the way down that back straight is Tim going to make a move on Holtzman. Here they come, DRS openings. He's going to dive on the inside of the final turn. He knows better than that. He's didn't fancy that. A bit of a locker from Jan. He had to do a bit of evasive manoeuvre not to slam into the back of the Mercedes. But of course, whilst they're doing that, there's Marek. He's only he's 1.5 behind. He's gaining hand over fist on that pack that's squabbling. So that train's going to get another car in it very, very soon.
Indeed, so I was just riding on board with Non-Runner, who was very close to making a move past Patrick through turn 1. Actually, have to lock up there as he almost ran into the back of him through turn 2. So it's going to be interesting to see how if Carroton actually catches up to the back of this train of cars. Oh, big lock up from Patrick there, possibly letting Non-Runner through, but not able to do so. It might not be too long until Carroton catches up to the back of these 4.
I don't think it's going to be too long at all, because he is charging on. Nameless, he's got soft tyres on. He's reminding us that he's still with us and fighting on nonetheless. It's worth it. I mean, you've got to think that if we have a major incident, considering how close these cars are, it could well happen. Granted, these are, a selection of some of the best drivers on the PC platform, I absolutely grant you. But, it could absolutely happen. Someone could make one mistake and take 4 cars with them. So it's always worth just ploughing on. Never, never, never give up. You just don't know what could happen. A safety car could come out and bunch the whole field up for a start. So if that happened, Nameless would be laughing because he's on the softer rubber that he's only just fitted. Here we go again on the back straight. Oh, Crow is struggling a little bit to keep the car straight. I think he may well be having a technical problem of some description. There's Tim again. He's too far back to make a move on the Red Bull. Preschneider from the lead is in. So 14 laps is as much as he wanted to do on those mediums, along with Non-Runner and Corny. That hands the lead over to James Pinsker in the Sauber. Nicely done. I mean, granted, he's got to come in very soon, but if you're in the lead, you're going to enjoy being there. Let's be honest about it. He may well know that he's going to be demoted a few positions due to pit stops, but come on, you're still in the lead of the race.
Indeed so. And speaking of Alvaro Carreton, he has pretty much halved the gap that he had to those 4 whilst they were racing, and he's now only just over a second, possibly just under a second by the time we get down to the back straight behind Ipany. So that could be an interesting battle to watch. Patrick is all just flitting between the second gap between himself and James Pinsker. It's now gone down to 8.5 tenths, so that we may well have a battle for the lead on our hands down the back straight. They're just about to approach there now.
Carroton is right there. He's only half a second off the back of Ipany now as they stream on down towards turn 11. Alvaro in the effective race lead. Again, bearing in mind the 3 ahead of him are likely to come into the pits one after another. Those that have come in and ditched their medium tyres, all on the soft tyres. So Preschneider, Non-Runner and Corny, 13, 14, 15 respectively, are on the soft rubber, and Preschneider is in a battle right there, but we'll cut to that in a minute.
He's in trouble here as Carroton dives it up the inside. Oh, huge double lock up, and that's allowed Ipany to come back through. And I think Ipany will possibly be pitting end of this lap anyway. Indeed he does, and Carroton inherits the lead. So maybe it wasn't the best idea to go charging in there, as he would have known that it wasn't be too long before Ipany would have pitted, but perhaps he just thought he needs to get it done as quickly as possible. So that is now Williams 1-2 in this race, with Patrick Holtzman and Chromatic very, very close behind. With a 3-way battle for second place.
Oh, there goes Crow on the inside of Patrick Holtzman, trying to get the move done before he's got on the exit of 3. He's going to need a hell of a lot of traction to try and do it. No, Holtzman just cuts him off, but it's caused a big breaker zone into turn 6. This is what Chromatic is going to want to aim for. And no, Patrick Holtzman just about managed to fend off, but he seems to be really struggling. Marek is now on the back of this train. So it is indeed a Williams 1-2. Tino did manage to overhaul Patrick Holtzman on that back straight, but there's 4.5 seconds between Tino and Alvaro Carreton at the moment. But Marek now joins this conga line. There's now 5 cars long from second down to 6th. Jemba Labassi is 4.7 behind this battle as Marek wanders a little bit wide on the exit of 10. Streaming on down that pit straight, not yet, on that short straight rather, down to turn 11. Oh, Crow, it looks like Crow again. Is he going to make a move on Patrick Holtzman this time?
We'll have to wait for the DRS. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly Chembolok Bassi captures onto the back of this, as well as he's not too far behind. Let's have a look then. Crow getting into the slipstream of Patrick Holtzman, who of course has DRS on the Williams. So he's going to dive it up the inside. Let's have a look into that corner side by side between the two of them with a hairpin. The Crow pushes the Red Bull a little bit wide, and that's up into third place. Very nice driving from Chromatic as Preschneider has made a move on the other way round on the Shazoo there, who has lost a position. Let's have a look then as we go through turn 1. The Red Bull is still side by side. Jan Fehler getting involved as well through turn 1. Let's have a look and see if the door is closed by Patrick Holtzman on Jan Fehler, and he's not quite able to get that move done. Wonderful racing from these four, as I expect that will continue for most likely the rest of this race. Is that Haas going to dive it up the inside? Contact with the Red Bull of Patrick Holtzman, who were able to get a good enough exit there to escape the Haas's clutches.
Quite a few teeth-drying moments there. That kind of reaction that I usually get when they get that close. Jan Fehler is really pressuring Patrick Holtzman. Patrick is seemingly struggling. We've seen the medium starters ditch their tyres after 15 laps. So it could be that Holtzman is going to be due for the pit. He may well be forced into it. They've got another 10 to do at least. So those medium tyres doesn't look like they're going to last the distance. That, of course, means Jembo Labassi's going to have to do the same thing. He's got Bolabassi's got Preschneider right with him. Bearing in mind that Preschneider's recently pitted for those soft tyres. So he's going to be charging on. I think that move's going to be long since done before they even get to the DRS. So there goes the Renault. He's left the Red Bull for absolute dead. But there's Jan Fehler again getting very, very close. And the exit of 14. Can't get the move done just yet, but he's going to want to stay with him. Look at the gap between Holtzman and Crow. That's over a second already. That means Holtzman is not... he's only just maintaining that second gap. There's no DRS on the Red Bull. So Holtzman is really struggling. Surely the Red Bull pair are going to have to come in. That is definitely calling their strategy into question. There is Marek looking to put pressure on the Haas as well. So Jan Fehler can't just concentrate on what's ahead of him. He's got to keep half an eye on the VP Gaming driver of Marek right behind him.
The only reason Patrick Holtzman was not overtaken into that hairpin was incredibly well-placed vehicle there. He completely blocked the line, the inside line that Jan Fehler was going to go for, but if he can continue to do that for 9 laps, I'm not so sure. But it was a fantastic defensive driving from Patrick Holtzman, but as I say, he's losing time to Crow in front, which may mean he's a bit of a sitting duck down this straight, and also Crow is right on the back of Timp as well, so we now have a separate 2 battles, for battle for second and a battle for fourth down this back straight.
Indeed, there goes the Williams of Tino and the Shazoo Mercedes of Chromatic coming through 13. Tino, look how early he committed to that defensive line. He's pretty sure Crow's going to try something. DRS on the Mercedes. Here they come. Chromatic's going to dive for the inside line. Tino doesn't close that one off. He's already made the defensive move. Can he slow the Mercedes down? Yes, he can. Chromatic is then up to second as Jan Fehler has gone past Patrick Holtzman in exactly the same fashion. Marek needs to do the same thing as well, or is going to do the same thing as well, I would imagine. But yeah, Patrick is continuing to fall down the field. No sign of him coming into the pits yet. So we'll see as Patrick Holtzman's actually stormed back past the Haas again. Didn't quite see that. I was looking at the wrong car to see that particular move. As another addition to the penalty board of Iapini for Rapid Races and the Toro Rosso. Pushing a little bit too hard. And got himself a 3-second penalty as reward. Also, whilst this lot of fighting, Preschneider is catching quickly. He's destroying the gap between himself and his teammate. Of course, Marek on the back of the particular train. Bit of a lock-up then from the second Renault. We just saw that is Bolagbassi and Vito battling there for 8th position. The Mercedes keeping the pressure on the Red Bull. I would imagine, looking at how Holtzman's tyres seem to be coping, I would think Jembo Labassi is equally going to be struggling to keep the Shazoo Mercedes behind him.
He is indeed. I'll stay on board with that battle, as it looks like Vito will be able to get the move done down the back straight. Jim Bolak-Bassi, but on those double lock up from Bolak-Bassi, and also a little bit deep from Vito as well. Be able to see which one of them is going to get the better run out of this long right hander as we prepare ourselves for this back straight. Actually, Bolak-Bassi's got a little bit of time gained, but the slipstream is really working into effect for Vito, as there he goes, as Jan Fehler again getting past Patrick Holtzman further up the road as well. That is a move for 8th place, well and truly completed, and Jan Fehler's gotten back past Patrick Holtzman as well, so both Red Bulls losing positions simultaneously.
Indeed, but Holtzman was able to attack back last time around, but he's way too far back, even with DRS open. He's not gaining anything on Jan Fader. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, that's a big one. Usually the 5-second instant penalties are appealed, so we'll see if... I mean, these penalties can be taken to the stewards, bear in mind, so there can be post-race alterations made. The 3-second ones tend to stand if you've pushed your luck a little bit too hard, but the 5-second ones usually are instant applied penalties, and sometimes if you're avoiding an incident or you have a technical problem, they can be appealed. So that may go in James's favour, and bearing in mind he's in a very tight battle. He's in 14th at the moment with Corny and Patrick and Non-Runner, so that's a big old battle he's involved in. He's got Iepony right behind him, so again, those penalties, it may well be worth him doing. But right up front, let's just double check where everybody is. Carrington is leading the way by 5.2 seconds now over Chromatic. So of course, Chromatic demoting Tino into that third position a few laps ago. Tino just and only just hanging on to DRS from the back of Mercedes. That nice back shot there shows you the gap. That's what 9/10 looks like in these things. So Tino will gain a bit, but he's not going to have much slipstream from that range. He'll get, of course, the DRS. Oh, looking back from failure, that's Marek doing a move on Holtzman on the Red Bull. Patrick fighting as much as he can, but he's got nothing left in those tyres at all to fight with. So that's Marek through up into 5th. Does Holtzman come in? No, he's going on. It could well be that the Red Bulls are having to just string out those tyres and hope they make it to the end. Patrick not coming in again, or they're going to strap on a set of Ultra Softs to see out the final laps. And of course, it's going to put him a long way down the list, though.
Details. Just having a quick check on the penalties to see which ones are going to be relevant in this race. A couple of drivers down the order, unfortunately, have some penalties, but probably the main one that we need to focus on is Vito. Currently has a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, which at the moment, due to the closeness of this field, would drop him down to finish in 10th place. So he's just inside the points at the moment, but Non-Runner is not too far away and will be looking to try and get inside that top 10. And so that'll be, of course, with Chromatic up in 2nd place. It will be nice if his teammate will be able to support him with some points, but with that 3-second time penalty, that might be called into question.
Indeed. Coming up to be 6 laps remaining here in China. Gem, what a shame for the Red Bull runner. He's really struggling to keep the Red Bull in the white lines. He's got Mateus right on his tail. And then you've got that 3-way pack of Non-Runner, Patrick and Corny, who could stand to gain some points if the penalties keep going the way they are. And look at the gap between Bolabasi and Vito. Vito then able to really stretch his legs and get away from the Red Bull, but Vito's tyres don't have much more life in them. They've done 12 laps in this stint. Preschneider is getting to the back of Holtzman, so the second Renault looking like he's going to start challenging for 6th fairly soon. There is Patrick Holtzman getting DRS off the back of the other Renault, but he's nowhere near. I think the best of those tyres are long gone. He's going to have a very hard time. He's going to be fighting off Preschneider with it. I don't think Vito's going to bother Patrick Holtzman any, so it's just the one position. It could be that Patrick realises that the strategy hasn't played out. He's just going to do his best. He may well feel he has to concede that 6th position for the benefit of just scoring points, as Gem is in real danger, especially with that penalty of not scoring at all. So it looks like the weight of the Red Bull team on Patrick's shoulders at the moment. Indeed.
I was just following Timp as he was going through. He's getting close to the back of Chromatic, and in the last lap down the back straight and down the pit straight, he didn't open his DRS at all, despite the fact that he did have it available to him.
Oh dear.
So is that Williams struggling? Does it have a DRS failure, or did the driver just not choose to operate it? He's within the DRS window again, going down this back straight. Let's see if he opens it this time. No. He's not opening that DRS at all. How much is that going to affect him as the Williams try and get a 1-2?
He's got a bigger problem of Jan Fehler and Marek behind him. That's going to be a bigger issue. The lack of DRS for that Williams is going to be an issue. We know how powerful it is here at Shanghai. So he's falling off the back of Crow. The issue he's going to have is that two-way battle behind. Jan Fehler, of course, won't have DRS off the back of Tino. He's too far back. But if Tino continues to struggle, there's nothing to say that the Comrade Gaming Haas of Jan Fader isn't going to close up that gap. And Tino's going to have nothing to defend against if he does get there. But we'll see. They've got the same length of tire, same life in their tyres. So Jan may have nothing left if he does manage to close that gap down. But, Preishnader on the mill. Good goodness me, on the inside of the Red Bull. He did not want to hang around past turn 6. Surely he's going to have the traction. There he goes. Preishnader diving on the inside of turn 6 to claim that 6th position from Patrick Holtzman. 2.3 decaying to his teammate. I doubt Marek will hold him up if he does get there. Marek will realise that Preishnader's on softer and younger tyres. Certainly if they're communicating between themselves, they'll know that that is the case, or that maybe they've discussed strategies beforehand. But I doubt Marek's going to hold up Preishnader, and of course Marek is still on Jan Fader's case. So Preishnader could well get a big old haul of points there if he continues to push the way he is with the last 5 laps to go.
DRS is fixed for Timps Williams. He is now able to use it, so you can see getting much closer to Crow. Big double lockup though, but much closer to Crow. So the Williams could be back in the game here. Marek, the racer within him, will be trying his damnedest to get past Jan Fader, but his teammate will be closing in that gap very, very quickly, I would imagine.
I would think so. Marek is doing what he can to hang on to the back of the Haas as Marek deploying that DRS down that start finish straight. Here they go, the never-ending turns 1 and 2. There's the battle just ahead of them of Tino and Chromatic. Now the Williams back in business with its DRS. Here's a back in striking range of the Mercedes. Now through 5, heading down to 6. Tino way too far back to make a move at the moment. 4 laps to go. And as we love from our competitive races, it's been action from lights to flag, and it's not showing any signs of showing up. Look at behind Vito. That's Bolak-Bassi, Matthias and Non-Runner still in that particular battle. Oh, Scalcifer is in the pits again. I wonder if he may well still actually be a ghosted Ferrari. He's been struggling all race long. 18 laps he's done on those mediums. He's gone on top.
He might be going for the fastest lap, which unfortunately does not generate you an extra point in this competition, unlike, of course, in real life F1. Does now you get an extra point for the fastest lap. Not so here. Back on board with Timp. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move on Crow at this time round, that he's not got many more opportunities to do it. No, he is too far back, that Williams. But someone who isn't too far back is Marek. Goes up to the inside, but the gap, the door was firmly closed in front of him by Jan Fader, who's doing a sterling job to keep ahead of him with those tyres. Cembolak-Bassi has dropped a couple of positions now. Matthias and Non-Runner going through him. Matthias and Non-Runner almost were going side by side into the final corner. So Cembolak-Bassi, even with that penalty, is now outside of the top 10. The Haas of Non-Runner flies past Matthias as they go into turn 1. Matthias holding the inside line as he's now going side by side with Cembolak-Bassi. As they go through turn 1, is Cem going to be able to keep it holding round the outside for turn 2? Not quite. So that is Cembolak-Bassi down to 11th, and now has the other Mercedes, the other ERL driver of Patrick, firmly in his sights.
Yeah, it was with softer rubber as well on the second McLaren. Oh, little bit of an impact between the McLaren and the Red Bull there. We'll see if that's caused Patrick any particular issue, but it's still going to be a little bit outside the points unless somebody else has a trouble in these dying stages of the race. There is Tino again, keeping Chromatic under pressure right behind them. There's Jan Fader and Marek equally spaced apart. So onto that back straight is where most of the action happens. Oh, Tino did not get a good turn through 12 and 13. He's lost a huge amount of time, comparatively speaking. DRS is indeed open on the Williams, but it's not going to help him this time. How did Marek do? He fared better. Jan Fader right in the middle of the road, ready for a defensive move should the Renault make it, but he's a little bit too far back this time. Oh, it's so tense for these drivers. Lap on lap on lap, they've been dealing with so much pressure. Those applying it and those trying to defend from it. As Cembolak-Bassi's lost another position. Indeed, Patrick did make that move on the inside of turn 14. Looks like Corny's looking to do the same thing in the Force India. It is going from bad to disastrous for Cembolak-Bassi.
Preishnader is closing in on the battle for 4th place. He was 2 seconds on the back straight. It's now down to 1.7. He's going to need to continue closing in at about that rate with only 1.5 laps to go, but he could well get there with that fresher rubber.
He could. He's going to have to press on like a crazy man to do it. And Yenab is actually in the Toro Rosso as well. So the Toro Rosso not fancying going on the final couple of laps on those very dead medium tyres. Let's again check in with our various battles going on. It's always difficult to know where to look when the field is this closely condensed as these guys work their way through 9 and 10 down that short straight again. And looks like Tino is much closer to Chromatic this time. He just needs a decent run through 12 and 13. Whoa, look at the tail of Chromatic! Calcifer does indeed get the fastest lap on those ultra soft tyres. But Chromatic had a huge snap of oversteer. It looks like both of these battles are set to change. There is Tino. Chromatic's gone defensive. The Williams. Oh, look at that. No, Chromatic holds on. But the Renault and the Haas side by side. Who's going to come out on top? Who's got the bigger bravery on the brakes? Renault on the inside with the final turn. And he's shoved the Haas wide. It does look like Marek has made the move. Tino didn't quite, but he's now going to make the move into turn 1 on the outside. Can Chromatic attack back? No! The Williams has managed to get it done. Final lap, and it's still all kicking off.
It's absolutely crazy. Non-runner made a move on Vito as well. So that is one of the CRG boys up in 8th place. It's a battle between Zen and Chembolok Bassi for 12th and 13th. And as Chem's actually dropping down the order back down to 14th, so it's just all gone wrong for them. But now it's going to be we're going to focus on the battles for 2nd place and the battles for 4th. Alvaro Caraton, unless something goes horrifically wrong, has this race pretty much sewn up with a 6-second lead to his teammate. The Williams is currently running 1-2, but Chromatic will do his absolute damnedest to try and make sure that does not happen. VP Marek ahead of Jan Fehler, who's already shaping up a move. Presnader's also there now on the back of this battle. As non-runner, I think, is up into 7th place as well as Vito falling down the order. Patrick Holtzman falling down the order.
Oh, Holtzman spun! Holtzman spun. I think he's on a puncture. He's off the field. And, well, we're checking with Patrick Holtzman in a minute. He's struggling. He's definitely got a puncture on that car. Can Chromatic make a move on that final turn? Oh, he's gone for a bit. That door got close. But he has managed to get the drive. He shoved Tino wide.
Marek up the inside as well. There's a 3-way battle between.
Oh, my goodness.
Marek is now going to go side by side with Jan Fehler through the final corner. Marek gets his way through. Jan Fehler's going to be 5th. And Presnader is so close to being 6th.
Wow.
Alvaro Caraton is your race winner, but it is not a Williams 1-2. What a wonderful move by Chromatic into that final corner. And as we see, the race order will shuffle around depending on penalties. Of course, a couple of them may well get appealed, but it looks like it's going to be just wow, what a race.
Oh.
What an ending that was. My voice is steadily leaving my system. I don't know about yours.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yep, it was indeed a rear right puncture on Patrick Holtzman's Red Bull. He had indeed pushed those mediums too far. His teammate managed to make it, but no such luck for Patrick. Oh, there's a Sauber that's dead in the road.
Yeah, in true Smeege fashion, we have put ourselves into the wall at the end of the Grand Prix. And as Yenab sets the fastest lap as he comes across the line on those ultra-soft tyres. And we're just waiting. Patrick Holtzman there across the line. Calcifer just coming through the final corner. Wasn't the best race, unfortunately, for him in that ORL. And there we go, across the line.
Wow, what a finish. That was absolutely incredible. Chromatic timing his last attack to perfection to take that 2nd spot for the Shizou Mercedes team. But it is Williams' day. Once again, Tim winning last time. And this time it's Caraton taking the silverware for the Williams Esports team. And what an incredible race it was. Alvaro Caraton just seemed unchallenged up front. He had no company for such a long period of time. But Tino doing what he can. Almost made it a 1-2. But a brilliant move by Chromatic, as mentioned. And we'll get the final confirmation. And a bit more experience for me. Marvellous. And there it is then. So Caraton by 6.8 seconds takes the win over Crow. Then it's Tino 3, Marek 4, Jan Fehler 5, Presnader 6, Non-Runner 7, Mateus 8, Vito 9, Corny taking the last of the points with Patrick Iapani, Jambo Labassi, James Pinsker, Nameless, Yana, Patrick Osman and Calcifer rounding out the field. Oh, wow.
Incredible stuff. So people's concerns about the Red Bull strategy probably ended up coming true. As you can see, both of them unfortunately not having the best result for in the end there. Patrick Holtzman, of course, having that spin at the end, down in 17th, and Chem out of the point as well. But Williams, fantastic result for them once again, taking 2 steps on the podium. Just again, what a fantastic race, and it's been a pleasure to commentate alongside you, Kodiak.
The pleasure is all mine, good sir. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience to have you in the commentary box with me, good sir. And that is going to round it up for this evening. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. A great pleasure to commentate for you guys. As mentioned, thank you very much, Mr. Allflattious, for joining me in the commentary box.
Not a problem.
It has been a great pleasure to have you alongside me. Thank you very much to our sponsors. Without you guys, AOR would not continue to grow. And we will be back for more AOR action very soon. Do come back with us. Round number 3 kicks off on Tuesday for the Xbox One guys. Do come back to us then, but there's plenty more racing going on in between then and now and beyond. So do come back to us for more of that. Until then, thank you very much and good night.